What's up, future programmers? It's Benjamin the Dev here with another video on the JavaScript Bootcamp Series. In today's lessons, it's all about math, but you don't need to be no math genius to program. Okay, so back in Free Code Camp, we are going to take on the next 6 lessons for the JavaScript Algorithm and Data Structure Certificate. Also, I have a certificate on the basic HTML and HTML5. I don't have a certificate, but I'm doing another course. So in the top right hand side of the video will be a thumbnail to see those videos. But further ado, let's get on with the basic JavaScript. So in this lesson, we need to add 2 numbers with JavaScript, and this is quite simple. We're still in the simple stages of the JavaScript Bootcamp, but it's good to get these foundations down before we move on to more complex subjects. So in this lesson, all we need to do is change the 0 so the sum will equal 20. So 10 add 10 basically. So in our sum variable, we're saying it equals 10 plus 10, which will be 20. We'll run this test and we'll move on to the next challenge. The next challenge is subtract. So same sort of thing. So our variable of difference is equal to 45 minus 0, and they're saying change the 0 so the difference is 12. So to do this, what we need to do is we need to change this 0 to 33, and that will give us a difference of 12. So let's do that now. And there we go, next subject. So basic JavaScript, multiply 2 numbers with JavaScript. So this is just like multiplication in a sense, just like at school. So 8 times 0 is 0. So what do we want it to be? We want it to be 10 basically. So product, the variable product is equal to 8 times 10, which will give us the 80. These lessons are quite simple. And the next one is the divide with another number. Divide one number by another with JavaScript. So what do we want to do? We want to change 0 so the quotient equals to 2, so that would be 33. 33, not 22, sorry. And that's fine. And now we want to increment a number with JavaScript. So this is a bit better. This is again a little bit more advanced in the basics of JavaScript. So incrementing is we'll be looking at incrementing and decrementing further on in this course. Basically, you use for loops to increment to get information from, I don't know, for example, I've been making a website and I wanted to know how many elements were, for example, say this here. So let's go to the inspect element. So let's say, so it's a H2. You could create an element, get all elements that are H2 with a class of text center, for example, and then you could use a for loop to loop out how many there are, and then you can change them. Again, in this bootcamp, we'll be going through changing elements or DOM elements in later lessons, but for now, this is just learning about incrementation. So you can increment or add 1 to a variable with the plus operator. So what we need to do for this challenge is just literally add the plus after the myvar. So what we'll do is we'll just delete this here and I'll run the tests. And what you can do is learn more about arithmetic operators here. And this will give you more information. Use the docs, use the MDM docs as much as you can, because it will help you with learning JavaScript. And actually, I use this all the time because when you're working on several different sites and you need to do something and you just literally can't remember, using the MDM docs is really good. So that is a good link to go to. Right. So anyway, so it's myvar ++. Run the test. And we've completed that one. So that's increment, and now decrement will be this one, I guess. Yeah, decrement. So again, what we want to do is we just literally want to decrement. So we just go we do this basically. So my var. There we go. So that's good. Now we need to create a decimal numbers with JavaScript. So decimal numbers, again, it's fairly simple. Decimal numbers, you can just have a decimal number like that. So we need to create a variable called myDecimal, and we need to give it a decimal value with a fractional part of 5.7. So we know how to create a variable. We use the word var, and we want to call it myDecimal. Whoops, DECIMAL, and we want to make it equal to 5.7. And notice that we don't do something like this, because that would be a string, and that would be wrong. That's not a number. We actually want it to be a number. So there we go. So we know how to create a decimal on myDecimal and equal it to 5.7. I think that's what they want to do. Yeah, so let's run the tests. And now we want to multiply two decimals with JavaScript. So you can perform calculations with decimal numbers just like whole numbers, and that's very true. So what we want to do here is we want to multiply two decimals together to get their product. So we need to change the 0, 0 so that it will produce 5.0. So obviously that's just 3. A bit like something like this. So you just do, I don't know, var test, for example. It's just basically like doing 2, like 2, 3. So that will give you 5, and this will give you 5.0. If you were to build like a calculator, you'd probably want to use decimal rather than whole numbers, because calculators you can do like 2.3 or 2.4. So I'll run a test, and oh, hold on, the product should be equal to 5. Oh right, okay, so bear with me. What we need to do is, I didn't read this, I thought it was meant to equal, it is meant to equal 5, so the variable product should equal 5. Okay, so we've done 2 times 3, so actually that is incorrect. So that's given us 2 times 6. Okay, so what we want to do, I thought we were just adding, but we're not, we're actually timesing. So 2 times 3 is wrong, because that gives us 6. What we want to do is 2 times 2.5. It's 2.5, and there we go, we're even using decimal, so there we go. So it's always important to read the instructions. I know that. So there we go. Right, so this one is divide one decimal by another with JavaScript. So now let's divide one decimal by another. Change the 0, 0 so the quotient will equal 2.2. So to do this, what we need to do is we need to make we need to change the 0.0 to 4.4. And then we need to run our test, and that should divide, well, 2 of those should give us 2.2. So let's run the tests and see how we go. Yep, so that's how we do that one. Now we need to find the remainder of right, so the remainder operator, or the percentage, gives us the remainder of the division of 2 numbers. So if you're not too sure on how to do any of this, basically what it is you're just trying to find the remaining number. So 2 times 2 is equal to 4. 5 minus 4 is equal to 1. That's the remainder. 5 divided by 2 is 2. That's the quotient. So, for example, they give you an odd and even here. And what you need to do is set the remainder to equal 11 divided by 3. So what we need to do is we have our remainder variable, and we need to equal that to be 11 and then that will give our remainder. So let's have a look. We run the tests. There we go, we've done that. So the next challenge is compounding assignments with augmented addition. So in programming, it is common to assign and modify the contents of a variable. That's very true, we do. So we need to basically convert the assignments for A, B, and C to use the plus equals operator. This is a good little lesson here. So, so for example, we did a couple of lessons back. We did a variable where we plussed, and this is a plus equals version. So you remember we were doing, so say for example, we had A plus plus, and we had, let's say, B minus minus in our last few lessons. So this is the plus equals. So basically we're just converting all of this here to do plus equals. So let's start with the first one. So it's 12. So we need to do the plus, and then we want to do the equals. Whoops, plus equals 12. So A is equal to 12 plus, so it'd be like 15. And now let's do plus and equals. Oh, I forgot what the number was there. It's 9. So we need it to be 9. So plus and equals, and that's going to be 9. And then the next one is 7. So C is plus and equals to 7. And then what we'll do is we'll get our output all here. So if we run the tests, we'll get green, but it didn't give us an output. So this is a good case for using, let me just command all, let's go ahead and use our Visual Studio Code. So ignoring all of this code up here, we'll just comment all of that out. And then what we'll do is, I want to console, in fact, look, I've got a nice little console log already written here. So we'll just do that while I uncomment these, copy and paste. So this will give us the answer for A, B, and C. And now if I save it and I go into my browser, and I don't have that set up just yet. So what I'll do is I'll go here, and again, ignore the green. We're not really interested in that at the moment because that's just part of our HTML videos. You'll see the banner at the top right there. That's the HTML videos. You can have a watch of those. So going back to this lesson, what we were after the answers. So 12 plus 3 should be 15, 26 and 19. So yeah, that's come out all correct. So that is that lesson completed. So now we can run the tests and go on to the next lesson. And that is the compound assignment with augmented subtraction. So again, just like what we just did here, not with the console logs, but with our code, like we just did here, we're actually going to be minusing equals. So we've got our plus equals, minus equals. So let me just save that file. And again, I'll put these files all onto GitHub, and the link will be in the description below. So let's go ahead and do this. So like the plus equals operator, subtract from a number from a variable. So what we need to do is we need to make this minus equals, and then this is going to be minus equals also, and again minus equals. And what we'll do is we'll just copy and paste all of this. We'll go back to our documentation here in this file. We'll just paste that into there, and then we've got our results there. So let's go back to our video 2. Not that it is video 2. Let's do a refresh, and there we go. -5, -6, and 2. Not -5, sorry. 5, -6, and 2. So let's go back to FreeCodeCamp, and then we'll run our tests. And there we go. That's that one done. And so again, this is the same sort of thing. It's fairly simple. You guys will be getting the gist of this now. So this is just going to be the times equals or multiplication equals. So what we'll do is we'll just make sure that this looks all good. So let's just do the times, and I actually need to just do this. I'll just copy and paste this because it's a bit quicker. And there we go. So again, it's going to be the same thing. I'm not going to copy and paste it into the document because you guys will be able to see from here. So then we run the tests. And oh, hold on a second. B should be equal to 36. Oh, there was a fresh number for B. So what I'm going to have to do is Command Z a few times, and it was 3. So and that was 3, and this one is 10, and then that's good, should be fine. Yeah, good stuff. Next lesson will be, hold on a second, what to do? Yeah, we're going to be doing the division. So division equals, again, this is fairly simple. We'll just do this, division equals, and this one, and this one, the C variable. So that's how it should look. So A, B, and C, yeah, run the tests. We're getting through these quite quickly because they're quite easy. Right, so I think I'm going to stop it there for this video. In the next video, we're going to be going over a lot more. Let me just refresh this page and see our progress so far with the free Codecamp curriculum of JavaScript. Let's close this up. And hold on a second, let's close you up, open you up. Basic JavaScript. So obviously there is a lot of basic stuff in this JavaScript, but we will be going over ES6, regex, debugging, data structures, all the more juicy stuff. So let's have a look, see where we got to. So we did quite a few lessons there, so that's good. Next thing is we're going to be declaring strings, doing literals, more strings with single quotes, all that sort of stuff. So you're going to start building on the, you start going to work with the building blocks of JavaScript, and before long we're going to start actually putting it into something a bit more meaningful. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you like it or got any questions, any suggestions at all, please have a look at the please make a comment in the bottom. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.